All right, it is 7:45. So if the Sheikh is here, Sheikh, are you guys there?
Ya Allah, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, let's get started, Sheikhna.
Ya Allah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Respected Sheikh, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you all are doing well, Tonight I'm going to start the program with a recitation of Surah Al-Mulk, because tonight's lecture is going to be on the first and second verses of that surah. So I'll start by reciting Surah Al-Mulk. Sheikhna, I'm going to be reciting the whole surah, right? Is that correct?
No. I mean, we can stay within the first 5 verses. That's fine.
First 5 verses? Okay.
Your beautiful voice. We want to get barakah from your beautiful voice.
That's cool, Sheikhna. So yeah, I'll recite the first around 5-6 verses, and then we'll get started, inshallah. Let me just find what page it's on. Sheikhna, do you know what page Surah Al-Mulk is on?
Not
I
off the top
found
of
it. 560. 560. Okay. Sorry, just find the surah. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاوت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حسير ولقد زينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وجعلناها رجوما للشياطين وأعتدنا لهم عذاب السعير وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وللذين كفروا بربهم عذاب جهنم وبئس المصير إذا ألقوا فيها سمعوا لها شهيقا وهي تفور صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أحسنتم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أحسنتم brother Mustafa.
Okay. Let's welcome سماحة الشيخ خالد والصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على نبينا الصادق الأمين محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. In the name of God, the merciful, the beneficent, all prayer and praise is due to the Prophet Muhammad and his holy household. In this verse, Surah Al-Mulk. First of all, what does Mulk mean? Mulk means authority, dominion, sovereignty. A king has sovereignty over his nation, has dominion over his nation. Allah has dominion over his creation, has sovereignty over his creation. A father has dominion over his family, has sovereignty over his family. Surah Al-Mulk, it begins with تبارك الذي بيده الملك. الله أكبر. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. Exalted is he who has sovereignty and dominion, and he is able to do all things, and he has dominion over all things. Then the second verse says, الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. The Lord who has created death and life brothers and sisters, not life and death, who has created death and life, so that he may test you. Which of you is better indeed? Which of you does better? And he is omnipotent and oft forgiving. What is omnipotent? Meaning having ultimate power. Aziz, he has ultimate power. And Ghafoor. I want you guys to focus on these two words, Aziz, Ghafoor. Omnipotent, oft forgiving. First of all, having all power usually gives you a feeling of dictatorship, of dominion, of power, of force over creation. But then Allah follows it with Ghafoor, merciful. In fact, he's not just merciful, he's forgiving. And he's not just forgiving, he's oft forgiving, meaning that he's constantly forgiving. Let's explore these two verses. First of all, what does Tabarak mean? I use the word exalted. The reason I use the word exalted is because I couldn't find a better word to describe the word Tabarak in English. I found it to mean bountiful. Tabarak is derived from the word barakah. If it is derived from the word barakah, barakah means the growth and bountifulness and happiness. However, it can also be used to describe grace. When we say Tabarak Allah, means taqaddasa wa tanazzaha Allah Ta'ala. Taqaddasa means he's exalted. Tanazzaha means we remove anything that is unfit for him. But when I say Barakallahu bik, Mustafa, Barakallahu bik, or Barakallahu feek, meaning what? Meaning may Allah give you more of what he has given you, and may Allah give you grace, and may Allah lift you. But when I speak about Allah, obviously I can't say may Allah give himself more. Allah is not in need. Then what does it mean when it comes to Allah? It means to exalt Allah. Now, the first verse reads, Tabarak alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. Allah is trying to direct your attention to the fact that he, the creator, is the one who has dominion and is the one that is all capable. Not that he created creation and relinquished power or gave it away or just simply says, do as you wish. And that power is to him alone. Tabarak alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. You can see it's almost like it's trying to paint a picture of absolute authority. Biyadihi, within his grasp. He's in control. Nobody else is in control. Then it says, Tabarak alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. In another verse, what does it say? Al-mulku yawma idhin lillah. Our scholars, they say that we in order to understand the Quran, we must use the Quran. I believe it was Ibn Abbas that says the Quran translates itself, interprets itself. In this verse, Allah says, in this world, in this creation, in this dimension that you live in, all power is to me. And in the hereafter, Allah says, وَالْمُلْكُ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلَّهِ. So the power, the dominion is to Allah, whether in this world or in the hereafter. Wherever we go, whichever existence, whichever dimension, the word is to Allah, the power is to Allah. Another thing that this verse is telling us, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. First of all, here the verse is saying that there is no other mulk to anybody else. Nobody else has absolute sovereignty. Nobody else has absolute certainty. It is He alone that has absolute sovereignty and certainty. Therefore, when we read in another verse, أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ وَلَدَارُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Do they not walk in this earth and see what has become of those that have come before them? What was their outcome? And surely the hereafter is better for those who are men of knowledge, who are wise, who have logic. In another verse, أَوَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. If you search min qablihim in the Quran, you'll get more than 30 different verses that talks about how they were, who they were, where they were, what they did, the power they might have had in comparison to us. And specifically in comparison to those who were during the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What do we derive from this? We derive from this that regardless of what power you think you might have, it's as if this is an address to those who consider themselves having power. Our leaders, our politicians, our kings, our queens, our presidents, our what have you. The Quran here is telling them, watch out, you don't have absolute power. Not only that, not do you not have absolute power, your power is momentary and can fade within the snap of a finger, as we say. We see that there's almost a form of tahdeed, threatening. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. He has power and he's capable of doing everything. He's capable of coming to your civilization, to this power that you consider to be so great. You call yourself, you don't call yourself a power, you call yourself a superpower. You see how arrogant? We're not just a power, we're a superpower. Allah is telling them, don't worry, I have capability. If I wish, I can destroy it. In fact, there are many verses that threaten. It says, look at those that were before you. Not only have we destroyed them, but we inherited their lands to a completely different group. Then we come. الذي خلق الموت والحياة. He who has created death and life. Why? ليبلوكم. What does bala mean? When I say
it's like something, like it's something bad.
بلوى بقى، هي بلوى. البلوى شنو يعني بلوى؟
والله ما أدري.
يعني هسه لما أقول لك هاي شلون بلوى هاي بيك. In our modern day, we consider balwa to be a problem, a calamity, a tragedy. Yeah. However, in Arabic, the word bala means test.
Test, okay.
Okay? Hence, we read in the Quran, and if Allah ibtala, He tested Ibrahim bikalimatin, within a few words. Ibtala yani tested. Life and death. Life and death is an example of Allah's authority. We see بيده الملك خلق السماوات والأرض. بيده الملك, and He created death and life. It is a form of Allah's authority over people. What is that form? What is that form? لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. Subhanahu wa ta'ala created life and death, not the natural state of things as some of us might assume. We see that some people assume that, you know what, is just simply nature. It's the natural state, that things have a beginning and have an end. Allah is saying, no, no, no. This is something that I have created. I created you with a beginning and an end. I can create you with a beginning. You have to have a beginning, but you might not have an end. Right?
Mhm.
What does Allah say? الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْحَيَاةَ وَالْمَوْتَ أو الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ. Which one,
موت
Mustafa?
والحياة.
Allah here said, al-maut, death comes first. Why? Because your ultimate end, you will ultimately have an end. I can choose to remove it from you and I can choose to leave you. I am the one that decides. I am the one that decides whether you die at 15, 34, 65, or 98, or whether you continue. It is my decision. The natural effect is subject to my dominion. هو الذي خلق. He created it. If he created it, can he change it?
Of course.
When a computer programmer types up a program, is he stuck to it or can he change it? Can he make exemptions or not?
He can.
If the creator of the universe created the universe, can he make exemptions or not? So then there is nothing illogical about saying that Allah has made exemption for Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalullah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif. He has made an exemption. Why is that out of the ordinary? Just because it does not click in within your mind doesn't mean that it's impossible. What's impossible to you is possible to someone else. It's possible to something else, right? Let's take an example. Is it possible for me to see in infrared?
If impossible for you to see an infrared light?
Yeah. Is it possible for me to see in it?
Yeah.
How?
I guess there's a way, but I honestly don't know.
I can get an infrared camera, can't I?
There you go. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can get an infrared camera. Now, if I was to go back 300 years and I was to tell them that, you know what, there's a light spectrum and then there's X-ray and infrared and all of these different forms of light, what do they call you, insane? If I went back 1,000 years and I told people, you know what, in 1,000 years, we will have these little bricks where I can sit here in Najaf and you can be at the other end of the world and I can speak to you through this brick, and this brick has a clear area where you can see me and I can see you and I can speak to you and you can speak to me. Wouldn't they say I'm insane? Wouldn't they say
wouldn't believe you.
Wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So what's impossible then is reality today. People used to die from the influenza. Most people that used to get influenza used to die. Today, influenza is a seasonal inconvenience, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And inshallah, in a few years, corona would be a seasonal inconvenience, if not
Inshallah.
altogether eradicated.
Inshallah.
So what seems impossible today does not mean will be impossible tomorrow. And if that possibility exists, then to the Almighty, to the Creator, that impossibility is non-existent. In fact, his existence is proof that there is no such thing as impossibility for his existence. Then the Quran says, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ, to test you, أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Like, there's a question that's always asked, what is the purpose of life? Right?
Mm-hmm.
خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ. Why, oh Allah, why did you create death and life? He says, so I can test. What does that mean? That means that one of the purposes of our creation is what? Is maut and hayat. Is test. So when we read the Quran says that there's 4 types. There's 4 types or 4 reasons. The first reason for creation is ما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. I did not create them less or only for that, or I did not create them unless it is for them to worship. The purpose of their creation is to worship. Is that the only purpose? No. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Choosing the correct path and the journey to perfection. Choosing the correct path and the journey to perfection, which are where? Which are derived from ibadah. The correct path is ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Perfection is ibadah. Perfecting oneself. Sometimes I perfect myself by becoming an engineer, by becoming a pilot, by becoming a doctor, by becoming a nurse, by becoming a pharmacist, by becoming a driver, by becoming what have you. I seek my perfection. However, the biggest injustice we can do to ourselves, Brother Mustafa, for ourselves, to ourselves, is not reach for perfection. Is to come home right after school and directly go to view TikTok, or directly go to play a video game, or spend my time in school on Instagram. You might dislike school today, and I know that most of you guys, including myself at that age, hated, not disliked, hated school. I hated going to school. I hated dealing with the bullies. I hated dealing with certain hypocrites. I had some friends. I enjoyed hanging out with those friends. I hated studying. God knows I hated studying. Anybody that knows me can attest to the fact that I hated studying. However, the one thing that school gives you that you will not get anywhere else, unless you apply yourself after high school, is it expands your mind. When you read something, when you look at something, it gives you a different horizon to view it from. So while you might think it's useless, I'm never going to use this knowledge after high school, that's not true. That knowledge is imprinted within your head. It gives you a different perspective of how you view the world. Hence, don't limit your knowledge or yourself to the knowledge that is taught in high school. High school can only teach you a small portion. Hence, they focus on what? On social science, on social studies, math, biology, English literature, so on and so forth. Chemistry, physics, so on and so forth. Don't limit yourself to these, because the more knowledge you have from around the world, the more you expand your horizon. When you start understanding how the others think, you start having less animosity towards them. If I have a problem with the Jews, then what I should do is I should pick up the Torah and read it through their point of view. If I have a problem with the Chinese, let me look into their history, see where they come from. Why do they have their point of view? If I have a problem with the Persians, what is their history? Where did they come from? Why do they have that point of view? And I'm not telling you adopt those point of views. I'm telling you learn those point of views so that you know why they are that way. There's a narration that is on behalf of the Prophet that says, if you want to beware of a nation's wrath or of a people's wrath, know their tongue. Know their tongue. Their tongue does not mean the language they speak. It means the ideology they carry, the history they have. Understand them. Lastly is mercy for mankind. The fourth point of the reason for Allah's creation, إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمْ رَبُّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبَّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. Except for him whom your Lord has bestowed mercy upon. And for that did he created them. He created them for that. What is that? Rahmah, mercy. Now we have four reasonings. However, are there more? There might be. Our main point is what? Illa liya'budun. Everything else comes under that. Now one could say, wait a minute, how is it that mercy is a reason for our creation? And about that, let's talk for a little, if you don't mind. Do you mind, Mustafa?
Of course not.
Inshallah. Mustafa, is your existence mercy to your mom or enigma?
Mercy.
Why is it mercy?
Mercy, or what was the other word?
Or an enigma, difficulty, hardship.
It's a mercy, of course. Why would it be a difficulty?
Why are you so self-conceited? Why do you think your existence is a mercy to your mom?
Because it's not a difficulty, so it must be like the other option.
Well, I'm gonna throw a wrench in your works right here. Your existence to your mom is both difficulty and mercy.
Mm-hmm.
However, ultimately, it is mercy. Your mother had to struggle to get you up to what age? How old are you now?
21.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. You're 21.
Yes.
Wow, that makes me feel a lot, very, very, very old. SubhanAllah.
Alhamdulillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So for 21 years, your mother has struggled with you, has struggled with teaching you, has struggled with teaching you proper manners, has struggled with your bad manners, has struggled with your hard times. When you're sick, she struggled. When you're happy, she struggled. When you're upset, she struggled. When you're stressed, she's stressed. Whatever you have, it reflects back on your mom. Mm-hmm. And on your dad, of course, but not to the same level, let's be frank. When you were up crying and you're sick and you're kicking, your mom was the one that's most likely up, especially in our culture. Mm-hmm. Your father probably was sleeping because he had to go to work the next morning.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, however, ultimately, it's mercy. Why? Because your mother is willing to give up the whole world to see you happy. Not to see you successful, to ensure that you're happy. She's willing to give up her life to ensure your happiness. And I'm going to ask you, and I know the answer is yes. Are you willing to do the same? You're going to say yes, and I'm going to say no. You are not willing to give as much as your mother is willing to give, or your father is willing to give.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever be able to do what my mom did.
You cannot. It's not you won't be able to. You will. You're going to be forced to do it when you have a child. Mm-hmm. And you'll understand the pains that they went through. However, will you be able to do for them what they did for you? Never. Will your child be able to do for you what you did for them? Never. Therefore, that mercy, they say in a narration, now it's used for metaphorical purposes. I'm uncertain of the authentication of the narration. Nonetheless, they say that a drunk son came home to his mother, who was an old woman. She was up. She was from Bani Israel. She was up waiting for her son. Her son was drunk. When he came home, she met him and she says, "Where were you?" She was worried about him. They say he beat her and then he dragged her to the side of a mountain and he threw her on the side of the mountain. As he was coming back from the side of the mountain in his drunk days, he heard his mother saying, "Bunay, mahlan, oh my son, walk slowly. Don't rush down the mountain. I'm afraid you might fall." They say Musa ibn Imran heard this and he says, "Ya Rab, oh my Lord, what is this mercy, this hanan, this love that a mother has for her child?" Allah returns and answers him. He says, "Ya Musa, wa izzati wa jalali, ana ar'afu bi'ibadi min hadhihi al-umm biwaladiha." I am more merciful to my servants than this mother is towards her son. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ, and we are closer to him than his own arteries. So think of the mercy. Think of how many times you have upset your mother and your father. And think of how with one smile, all of that is forgiven. Allah says, I am closer to you than that. Imam Sajjad Dua Abi Hamza Thamani. He says, the gist of the dua, he says, oh my Lord, how often do you come to me? Do you seek my nearness? And I am the one that moves away from you, as if I am the one that has power over you, authority over you. Wal-iyadu billah. Now we'll move on. The Quran, we'll continue with the verse. I don't want to spend much more time. We have how much? You know what? We'll sum it up within 5 minutes. I know we said we're going to try to reserve it, but this is 30 minutes and give you guys a couple of minutes before iftar. So we'll do that as well here today. We'll sum it up within 5 minutes. What qualifies a deed? The Quran says, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. What is a good deed? And we'll end with this. Brothers and sisters, to justify or to say a good deed, I'm just simply going to list off a few qualities. The quality of a good deed is that the action taken leads to one's benefit or to the benefit of oneself and others in accordance with wisdom, law, and order, and religiosity, and faith. And we can add, if we are referring to it from a religious standpoint, that it would add, we would add to it the distinction of oneself from boasting and swagger. Meaning what? Meaning that you're not, when you do a good thing, when you give sadaqah, for example, don't boast about it. As I see a lot of, unfortunately, in modern day, a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you know, they take pictures of themselves giving sadaqah to the poor, while the poor are so ashamed they are hiding their face. Well, if you see this individual is so ashamed that they're hiding their faces, why are you giving them sadaqah and filming it? Give them sadaqah and move on. But obviously that sadaqah is not for Allah. That sadaqah is for him to show off. Maybe there's an election day coming up. Anyway, not seeking fame, not boasting, not swaggering, ensuring that your deed is in line with God's commandment and that it's in line with wisdom, law, and order is considered a good deed by all accounts. Inshallah, we'll end with that. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة على نبينا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Is this time better? We want to end a few moments before iftar so that you have time to go and prepare yourself for iftar as opposed to running all the way till iftar. What do you guys say?
I think it's a good idea, Sheikhna.
Inshallah.
Yeah, it's perfect. Just so people have enough time, like you said, to get ready for iftar and salah and
Allah Kareem.
what have you.
Please remember me and my parents in your dua, and I will do the same, inshallah, once I go to Amir al-Mu'mineen. I just want to make one small announcement. The night of the birth of Imam al-Hasan, in 2 nights, we will be in Karbala. We will be hosting a live lecture from Karbala. I don't want last week's embarrassment to reoccur. We had 5 or 6 people talk. Brothers and sisters, tell everybody we will have a virtual tour from inside the haram of Imam al-Hussein, from inside the Darih of Imam al-Hussein, inshallah. Please do all you can to gather as many people as we have, as many people as we can, so that we can benefit from the ziyarah.
Inshallah.
It's going to be
at the same time.
Brother Ali, it's going to be the same time, 7:30.
7:30 or 7:45, Sheikhna?
No. For that day, we'll make sure that it's 7:30.
Okay, 7:30, inshallah.
So what we will do, Brother Mustafa, what we might do is before the lecture, we might do a short ziyarat Warith, ziyarat Ashura, you know, before the lecture.
Inshallah.
Ahsantum Mawlana.
I think we have one question. Just give me 1 second. Sheikhna, there were people asking, after the 15 days, are you still going to be giving lectures, or are you?
I'm at your service. The agreement was for 15 days. After the 15 days, if you guys want, speak to Brother Ja'far to arrange it, and I'm at your service, inshallah. Bil khidman.
Okay, inshallah.
Either way, I'm here and I'm at your service, inshallah.
Thank you. I don't see any questions in the chat or anything. That was the only one. So, Jazakumullah khair. Inshallah, we'll see you.
جزاكم الله الله يحفظكم ويحفظكم. وتعب الله.
مع السلامة. All right, so iftar is at, if I'm not mistaken, 8, just let me make sure, 8:36. That's what it says on the MYM page. 8:36 p.m. So I hope you all enjoy your iftar. Did somebody want to say something? Okay, I thought somebody unmuted their mic. All right, so inshallah you all enjoy your iftar, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.